Welcome everyone that is here tonight. We are starting our first Bible study in the church. This specific meeting will be strictly for Bible study. We will go chapter by chapter, verse by verse throughout the Bible. Our first book will be the book of St. Mark, the evangelist, our patron saint of this church. And Ashraf will be leading a two-part series for an introduction to Bible study. And then that may also delve into the book of Mark as well for next week. And so we welcome Ashraf to speak to us tonight in our first Bible study. Thanks, Ashraf.
Can you hear me now? Yes. Okay, I feel like I'm lecturing you, and that's not the that's not the purpose at all. If you can, try as much as you can make this feel like an intimate discussion. I'm only standing here with the mic because of the live audience. I can't tell if anyone's actually on or not, but hello, Internet. Hopefully you can see the slides. If anyone wants the slides, I'm happy to send it to you. But before we start, maybe a request. First, I ask you if you can pray for this service. This service is almost a year in the making, Abuna knows. And Abuna particularly wanted to be very careful about this service to be of use to you, and also to give you a different flavor of what we mean by Bible study. One of the things we're going to talk about is what's the difference between maybe just reading your Bible meditation-wise or reading it in a spiritual way versus reading the Bible in a way that is a bit different, in a way that is about context, is about research, is about empirical evidence, internal evidence and external evidence, and we'll talk about that a little bit. Also, in a way that gives you the ability to discuss the Bible with other traditions, with other people that maybe make attacks on the Bible or have different perspectives. So you know the historical context, you know the academic context, and so on. So we wanted to have you benefit as much as you can, and in so doing, please, we ask for your prayer for the service. The other thing is, please ask as many questions as you want. The point of this Bible study, again, is not here to lecture you, but it's just to give you bits of information, questions to think about. And if it's interesting for you, definitely ask. Definitely say, I want to know more information about this, or I don't agree with this, or I don't understand this. I may not have the answers, the servants may not have the answers, but at least it sparks a good discussion that leads us back to the Lord, back at His feet, to study His Word, and so that we can benefit as much as we can. Okay, what is the point of studying the Bible? I know that sounds silly, but at the same time, we have to know why we're going about this exercise. What are we trying to achieve about it? And I would say three things. The first is you have to know your faith. The knowledge of your faith is important not just for your own worship, but also to defend against those who don't have your faith, to carry the message of Christ to others. St. Peter says, for example, in his epistles, always be prepared to defend the hope which with you have. And the hope here, the defense here, the word that he uses, apologeia, in Greek, from which we get the word apologetics. So the idea of the defense of your faith is apostolic. It's also a way for you to discern between things that sort of sound doctrinal, they sound right, they sound orthodox, but is it really? And so you have to understand what is orthodox, what's the source of orthodoxy, where do we get this idea from? Does the Bible really say this? Does the Bible really mean something that it's claimed to say? Also, we have to deepen our own love and relationship with God. And that we do through His Word. And there's a beautiful quote here, and there's so many like it, that St. Paul always prays that his congregation be filled with the knowledge of his will in wisdom and spiritual understanding, meaning that the hope for us to grow as Christians is to increase in the knowledge of his will and spiritual understanding. And the way to do that, of course, is to grow in our understanding of the Bible and the Word of God. Very interesting also is the character of God. And what I mean by that is, what type of person, what type of entity, what type of being is God? Is he jealous? Is he far away? Is he near? There are so many personality traits you can get from God simply by studying the Bible, what he says about himself, how he deals with characters of the Old Testament, how when he came in the incarnation, how did he deal with his people? And so you can learn not just in your own real life dealings with God, but you can also learn the character of God from the Bible.